During and after his time of writing about Thomas, Wilbert Awdry would take trips to explore various railways and see preserved engines, usually within the United Kingdom. In June 1980, however, he and his brother George embarked on a major expedition, a 20-day tour of Canada by train. There were the usual mishaps. On the outward flight, Wilbert's knees came into painful contact with the seat in front when a passenger wanted to recline. Later, George lost the adapter for his shaver, and was unsuccessful in finding a replacement in Toronto. Whilst in the city, they visited the Canadian National Railway's observation building, the CN Tower. Think of it as a space rocket which has got itself wedged into a donut, and you have the tallest structure in the world. In the donut, there was a revolving restaurant with prices as high as the tower itself. Departing Toronto, most of the Awdry's journey would be on Via Rail, which had its frustrations. They do not, as a whole, order train embarkation better in Canada, choosing to make a considerable circus of it. The blankets were not long enough, the bathrooms too small, and, whilst impressed with the service and friendliness, were mystified by coffee being provided before breakfast, and the unexplained slice of orange on their plates. Here you can't have just one egg with your bacon, you get two and like it. Their first stop was Winnipeg, where, in Assiniboine Park, Wilbert and George encountered a Canadian National 482, stuffed and caged among the trees. They then visited a local tourist railway, the Prairie Dog Central, and saw Locomotive Free, which was soon to celebrate its 100th birthday. The brothers continued their journey through Edmonton and entered the national wonders of the Lakes and Rockies. At Jasper, the two boarded the Sky Tram, which carried them up Whistler's Mountain to an altitude of 7,500 feet. Here, Wilbert took this photo of George looking out over the summit. Leaving the mountains and national parks behind, they reached the end of the line at Prince Rupert, where they turned around and retraced their route back to Prince George. The next stop was North Vancouver. Here, the Awdrys traveled on a train pulled by Canadian Pacific 2860. They noted that, in 1939, another locomotive of 2860's class had been in charge of the Royal Train during King George VI's visit to Canada, and by his permission the whole class was named Royal Hudsons, and embellished with crowns and royal arms. Now 2860 was carrying rail enthusiasts through the mountains at a leisurely 30 miles an hour, a speed that prompted George to compare its restrained behavior to that of a caged lion. Following this excursion, the brothers began to find their way back to Toronto, heading through Banff and stopping in Calgary. On display was a two-cylinder 210-4 with a 12-wheeled tender, said to have been, in their day, the biggest engines in the Commonwealth. Finally, there was Niagara Falls, which they viewed from a launch. "To be there," wrote George, "even at a distance, to see those immense quantities of water smashing down, to feel, even through those raincoats, the impact not of mere spray, but of solid gobs of water splashed up." Their troubles had not ended, however. On the final leg of their journey, Wilbert and his baggage got separated on the train by several carriages, and found himself having to fight his way back in order to retrieve it and make his escape from hell. He later recalled, when arriving in Toronto, "There on the platform the handle shackle of George's bag chose at that moment to break loose. We made our way somehow across to the Royal York Hotel, where George managed an emergency repair. We then dumped it all in a pay locker and went in search of a bar, where we awarded ourselves a lawn gin and lime each." For Wilbert, the Canada visit had been a great success. Despite the drawbacks, there were plenty of trains, contemporary and vintage, and he was able to inspect, travel on, and enjoy them. As a writer of talking locomotives, it was fitting that one of his souvenirs was a brochure of 2860 which reported, "Every turn of its wheels echoes the same phrase. Glad to be back, glad to be back, glad to be back."